All right. Welcome back to the final word. This is 2 weeks in a row of us recording now. We discussed possibly the idea of maybe putting out more than one of these a month, and that's why we're recording right now. So you may be getting more episodes of the final word. We'll have to see how that goes, schedules pending and all of that. But Jordan, how are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here. I actually celebrated 5 years of sobriety last weekend, so I'm doing great.
Whoa, well, that we need to talk about that. How are we not talking about that? Congratulations, 5 years. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a long road, but I'm glad to be here with you
Yeah.
talking weird stuff.
Did you do anything to celebrate 5 years?
Actually, we had a huge snowstorm here in East Texas, and so it was just like sleet, ice, and then a little bit of snow. So me and my husband Cameron drove around before it got too icy. So it was really nice. It was like a perfect day, just chilling, nowhere to go, nowhere to be. It was nice.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, 5 years. That's great.
Thank you.
Every single person I know that used to drink and then no longer does, I watched their life get incredibly better so quickly.
Yeah, it was like
Some
overnight.
quicker than, yeah, some quicker than others, but everyone I know that has gotten sober, I mean, they've become more successful. Their life has just gotten better. It's really incredible to see how much people change when they just remove the alcohol from their life.
Yeah, I was a complete psychopath. I thought I'm laughing about it, but we really did think I was bipolar, and I thought it was going to be something that just like carried on throughout my whole entire life.
Yeah.
I think I was hoping maybe alcohol would end it for me, so I
Mm.
didn't have to do it myself.
Yeah.
But God, I mean, yeah, just can't explain how incredibly different my life is and how I mean, yeah, there's no way I'd be sitting here with you talking
Yeah.
that's doing this stuff like cool shit like this.
Well, congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
very,
Thank you.
very happy for you. 5 years. I can't wait to talk again in five more and see where
Me
you're at.
too.
All right. So we wanted to get back on here. Like I said, we're thinking about possibly maybe seeing what we could do and maybe start releasing two of these a month, which would be very fun. And the episode that has already come out, I'm assuming if you're hearing this, was more story oriented. We covered, some like celebrity stuff, some different just death related news stories. And so the idea would be to do an episode like that and then do another episode that's a little bit more relaxed and not so story detailed and a little bit more about us and maybe things that are going on in our lives or things where, watching or whatever it is. This one definitely a little bit more on the side of things we're watching because we mentioned it briefly. I don't know if it was while we were recording or if we were just talking afterwards or whatever it was, but I mentioned to you the Elizabeth Smart documentary that is
Mhm.
out on Netflix right now. I watched it maybe a couple of days after it came out, and you seemed to have been aware of Elizabeth Smart for a long time. If you haven't seen the documentary, go watch the documentary. She was kidnapped in early 2000s, right? 2003 or
Yeah, 2002, something. Yeah,
2000.
June 2002.
So, I mean, I was a freshman in high school in 2002 and not really, paying attention to the news at all. So I was very unaware that some girl in Utah was kidnapped and it was like a national, I just wasn't aware of that national story happening. Um, and then just missed it for the rest of my life. I knew nothing about her. Maybe I had heard the name maybe, but I knew nothing. And then I put on Netflix and I see this documentary come up and I at this point I'm watching like two TV shows and then exclusively it's just documentaries. It's like all I watch. I
Yeah,
can't
that's how we are too.
yeah, it's the only reason I keep Netflix, honestly, is because they have so many great documentaries. I don't think I would keep it otherwise. So I watched the documentary and was completely blown away. It's an insane story. The story starts with 13, 12, 13-year-old girl
Hmm.
being kidnapped, literally pulled from her bedroom. The way it starts essentially is the sisters were sleeping in a bedroom together, and a man, someone, man, who you don't really know, just cuts the screen of their window open and just climbs inside,
Yeah.
puts a knife to her throat, and then basically tells her, if you scream, I'll kill you. And her sister just watches this all happen, and then this man just leaves, and she's gone. Again, I knew nothing about this. I didn't pull out my phone and start Googling because I didn't want to spoil it, which is an insane thing to say. But I wanted to actually, live through it. And the first thing I'll say, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, I immediately thought once they started running through all the people, like suspects and like the family and whatever, I immediately assumed it was a family member. He has the father had a couple of brothers,
Right.
and I immediately, after they sort of hinted at the brothers being possible suspects along with the dad, I didn't really feel like it was the dad, and we can get into that too. But
Mhm.
I immediately went to has to be one of the brothers. I think it was
Yeah,
four
the
boys.
creepy uncle. It's always a creepy uncle, right? I'm not saying that any of her uncles are creepy, but like, yeah, in the documentary, they do a whole little kind of thing on one of his brothers in particular, and it is kind of like he says a couple of weird things in an interview, almost like sympathizing with her abductor, sort of. And I could see how it might come off weird. But as like I'm a huge true crime person, I listen to like all the podcasts, I watch all the, Forensic Files and 48 Hours,
Yeah.
everything horrible I'm on. And so it's kind of like a common tactic for the family to do that, to get attention or whatever from an abductor. But also, like, how crazy is that idea anyway, that some random person would come into your daughter's bedroom and only take one of them?
Yeah, it is a little strange. I mean, I would assume if it's just one kidnapper, probably easier to take one than two, right? You would
Right.
think
Well, yeah, that
it's
makes sense.
but
You know what? Fair enough.
but what still, why would he pick her over the other sister,
Right.
like why specifically her? And just going back to the family dynamic, I believe everybody did a polygraph. They had everyone do it, even
Mhm.
the dad. The dad was a suspect. I think maybe the mom not so much, but the parents were definitely looked at. Accidents happen. The daughter hurts herself, slips, falls, whatever, and she ends up dying, and then the parents get nervous. They hide the body, whatever it is. Like there's
Right.
all these things that could happen. So you got to rule out the people closest first. And yeah, I do remember there was a part in the documentary where it was one brother specifically that everybody was like, I don't know, he seems a little weird. And I immediately was like, I just go, it's him. It's the brother. It's for sure.
That's what Cameron said too. He was like creepy uncle. It's always the dad or the creepy uncle
Well, and I think statistically, it's usually somebody
in the
in
yeah.
these situations. A lot of the times when kids go missing, I think it's either the mom or the dad, and that's usually because the family's separated or whatever. His
Mhm.
parents were still together, but yeah, usually it's somebody and it does turn out. We're gonna kind of spoil stuff here, so if you don't, if go watch it first,
That's a
if
good
you
point.
and don't listen if you don't want it to be ruined. Again, this happened almost 25 years ago, so not that crazy to spoil stuff, but it did end up still being somebody that the family sort of adjacently knew very briefly, but still, like, there's a reason why this guy took her. He was aware of her. It wasn't like he closed his eyes and spun around three times and just went to a house. Like he had
It just
clearly.
picked a window that looked easy. I think he had worked on the house before
He was
construction
homeless.
or
I think he was homeless, and like the family, very religious in Utah.
Mhm.
They like saw that and they like offered him if he ever wanted to come do work or something like that. I think was the main.
Right. Well, and I think that's kind of like a weird part of this too, is like the Mormon of it all, because like in my experience, Mormons are like some of the most kind, like giving people that you will ever meet. They're so willing to and I'm not a religious person, and I do have my thoughts on the Mormons, of course, but like
Yeah.
as a, service level, they're super helpful. So for them to have seen this person that they in their minds is they're helping, that come and like violate their family like that, just an insane.
You could be kind and generous and offering
Right.
to strangers, but maybe, I don't know, do a little bit more of maybe some sort of background check. Maybe,
Yeah.
I mean, did they interview the guy? The second you see this guy's, you just look into his eyes. It's like, I'm sorry, I would never invite that person into my home. I guess that's the risk you take with being incredibly open and charitable, is that you sometimes,
Mhm.
get involved with people that are completely insane, which this guy was. Again, we're not gonna. I don't want to spoil everything, and we don't have to go through like line by line
Scene
of the
for scene,
documentary,
yeah.
but I mean, the story is just so crazy. And it's something I think about a lot. Again, just going back to like the family being suspects is, and I don't know if you have this. I don't know if it's like more of just men maybe feel this way, but anytime I'm like with a woman and it's new and like we're going out or she's leaving my home and it's late or any sort of situation where like something could happen. If someone's leaving my home late at night and we are like newly acquainted ish, I'm walking her to her car every
Right.
time. I'm making sure she's home and the door is locked. Like I don't want, because I just know if something happens, I'm immediately the first person
Yeah.
they're assuming kidnapped her, locked her in my closet, whatever. And honestly, I've said this to people before where it's like, I don't want to be the next Netflix documentary. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be that next person. And so I understand when they were interviewing, because they interview the whole family. I understand, you could tell like the uncles were still like 25 years later were like offended by the idea of them being suspects
Yeah.
in this. And it's like, brother, I mean, what do you, it
Well, yeah, it's
feels
like,
like
what
the
did you
world.
kind of expect? But again, I like not to, I mean, I am kind of a little bit low key obsessed with Mormons. I think they're so interesting, but it is that like generosity, and it's almost like you become blind to the real world when you're just locked in
No,
that world. And so for them, they're not in the same true crime like obsessed world that, you and I live in.
yeah.
And so yeah, I'm sure he was like, what, I don't know, but again, I'm with you, Rob. Like,
And it's 20
how
years
did
ago
you
too.
not think
Yeah.
that you guys were going to be the ones for a little while at least? But I get the frustration too of knowing that you didn't do it. And
Yeah, there's another documentary on Netflix that kind of really enforced this for me. I can't remember what it was called. These like people break into the house and kidnap the girlfriend and they like drug them and like put goggles on them. Have you heard about that?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, I remember that. And they think that it's the boyfriend,
Yeah, of
and she
course.
she really, yeah.
The boyfriend's story to the
Yes,
police
and
is
he's
people broke in and drugged us and put drunk goggles on us.
Mhm.
And
Like literal swimming,
yeah,
blacked out swimming goggles,
yeah.
insane stuff that it's like if you're making it up, why would you even go there, first of all? But then it's like, who the hell would actually do that?
It I couldn't imagine being that boyfriend and being 100% innocent and sitting there in like an interrogation room and you're telling the police this insane story that just sounds like you came up with the worst alibi of all time. I mean, it's just absolutely terrifying. I'll find the name of that at some point. It's a Netflix documentary too. You should look that up. That one's wild.
It
Also,
is a good one.
just quickly here, you sent me a TikTok video yesterday of another insane
OMG.
murder story. We should talk about that briefly too. I mean, I still have a few thoughts about the Elizabeth Smart thing, which we'll wrap that up in a second. But just again, going on this like little side quest here of crazy murder stories. That video you sent me, it was like a 10-minute TikTok video. I watched the whole thing. absolutely insane. I mean, if you want to explain the
Well,
situation was.
okay, remind me which video, because I send TikTok videos all day, every day, Ross. I'm sorry.
That's so funny.
I'm putting in
So
full-time hours
so
scrolling.
the video was about a husband who was having an affair with a woman
Okay.
and
The au pair.
yeah. And
Okay,
he
yes,
basically,
thank you.
yeah, he planned, I'll let you tell it, but yeah, he planned
Uh,
this like crazy plot to get his wife killed. I've never heard anything like it.
this man and his au pair are having an affair. They, this is a doozy. They create a fake email account for his wife on her computer.
Which is
Yes.
smart, which is very smart because
Right. IP address.
yeah, it matches yeah, looks perfect.
So they start going on to, now I don't know if this is on the dark web and or what, how you're finding
It was like a
these
fetish
people.
website.
Okay, just a fetish. Okay, so not, yeah. So they go on fetish websites and essentially set up a planned rape scene for his wife.
Yeah.
Now, the wife does not know about this, obviously, but in their exchange with these men that they're trying to set up this arrangement with, they're saying, the wife wants to be, has a fantasy to be raped at knife point, essentially, and that
Yeah.
someone would break in and they would play out this fantasy. And to these men that they're talking to, this woman has consented. So this is all
But I remember part of in the video she mentions how most of the men are like, oh well,
not willing to
need to,
meet.
yeah, they're like, or no, they're like, I need to
Or,
meet you first.
right,
Like
right.
we need to have a phone call. Like I need to actually talk to you before I do this. And they keep going through it until they finally find a guy who's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll
Right. They
do that.
just ghost all these guys that are like, hey, can we FaceTime? Can we whatever? Well, they finally get a guy who's like, let's do a phone call. Well, the au pair gets on the phone and pretends to be the wife.
Yeah.
They set it up. Everything's in place. So I guess the husband leaves to go to work. The au pair, I can't remember if she stayed home or if she left as well, but the man that they have made this arrangement with, well, I don't want to call him the rapist because he's not. It is a consensual
Yeah.
encounter, so I don't want to say that
Now
about
this is all
it.
allegedly. Nothing. He has no
Right,
one's been proven guilty yet. But
right, and people have weird I'm not here to judge anyone's.
no, yeah,
I mean, I'll do that on my own time, but
yeah,
here that's neither here nor there. So this man thinks he's entering into a consensual arrangement. This woman, the real victim, the man's wife, which I should look up her name, but she is actively becoming a victim of what this other man believes is a consensual act. So I don't know if the au pair called the husband, how they got the husband back to the house.
Yeah.
But essentially, he comes in, shoots the man that he's made this arrangement with to attack his wife, shoots him, and to his wife, she's thinking, oh, wonderful, my husband is here to protect me and to stop this man from this horrible act. Well, her husband then goes and sits on the bed and proceeds to stab her to death.
Yeah. Basically framing this guy they got from the website.
Right.
He's like an FBI agent too, right? Or he's like
I think he's like a doctor or something.
Okay, I think, yeah, I'm not sure. He had some sort of profession where you were just like, he's clearly a smart guy. Like he had some sort of profession that you would realize he's relatively intelligent. And this is, I mean, on the scale of, I mean, we've talked about so many different like husband wife murders on this podcast in the past. I mean, there are some ones that where they are so incredibly uncreative, and so many of them are like Googling on their own phones and computers, like what do you use to get blood out of the carpet, and like stupid shit, where you're just like
what we would call it rookie mistake.
Yeah, that as disgusting as this is, I was at least this guy legitimately put some thought into it.
I mean, and he took the steps to take the actions. I mean, he wanted this, he really wanted it to happen. And he didn't even have to pay a hitman.
Yeah, which, I mean,
that's the crazy part to me.
Well, anybody who goes on the internet and thinks they're actually talking to a hitman is talking to a police officer. You're insane if you think you're actually going on Craigslist and finding a hitman. But it's it's at least thought out, creative, well planned, and still doesn't really work, which just makes you think like
Right.
we live in a world now where it's like it's almost impossible to get away with murder at this point.
Well, and the au pair turned on him. So,
Of
I mean, and
course
these
she
people are
did.
relatively,
Of course,
people
the
are young.
moment it got real and the moment that there was a possibility that she could go to prison forever, of course you turn on him and you rat
Yep,
him
she's
out and you
done.
get a deal.
Yep.
And
And these people are 40 years old. I mean, or
yeah,
the husband, Brian Banfield, is it Brendan? I'm sorry.
yeah.
Brendan Branfield, 40 years old. He is an IRS like criminal investigator. His
Okay.
wife, yeah, his wife Christine Banfield is her name. We should say her name. She was only 37 years old. I mean,
That's crazy.
Jesus
I
Christ.
mean, like, and again, this is we're not trying to do a true crime podcast here, but
Right.
these are just things that are like been popping up in the news in like both of our lives on the internet. I mean, the other one obviously, and just quickly, the dentist, the couple that got shot in their bed. Did you see that
Oh my
one?
gosh. And it was the
And it was the ex-boyfriend.
ex-husband.
Yeah,
Or yeah, the
yeah,
ex-boyfriend.
husband, boy, whatever. And it's like he walked in front of like someone's ring camera. Like it's just
Mhm.
so easy to get caught. It's just so crazy. But
Well,
anyway,
and like this story, oh no, I was gonna say like with this story in particular, like the obsessed with death of it all comes in when this lady has to sit there thinking her husband's there to save her.
yeah.
Meanwhile, he's looking her in the eye.
No, it's like you have those are like dreams you have. Those are like nightmares where
Yeah,
you're getting murdered. Your husband comes in,
right.
thinks he saved you, and then he kills you. Like that's like I'm sure people have that exact dream. It's crazy.
Lifetime movie in the making
So
for sure.
yeah. So anyway, I real bit of a tangent there, but it's usually somebody you know. I guess is what
Yeah,
we're getting at, right? So
exactly.
it's the husband, it's the ex-husband, it's the boyfriend. It's usually just it's let's be honest, it's usually just a man. It's a man that just kills everyone. Uh, so just quickly getting back to Elizabeth Smart here, and then I want to talk about my new favorite television show, The Pit.
Oh,
Just a crazy story. Watch the Netflix documentary. But I mean, this girl gets kidnapped. She's gone for 9 months. There's more than one instance in the 9 months where she's literally sitting, staring at a police officer in the face,
mhm.
and they still get away, which, that's all I'll say, is a fun little teaser. I mean, it's just so crazy what this guy
Right.
is able to get away with. And then we talked about this a little bit, and this is kind of the last thing I guess that I have to say about the whole thing is that obviously this is a new documentary from Netflix. Again, bit of a spoiler, but they kind of let you know pretty quick. She does survive this 9 month kidnapping, which I
Yeah,
mean,
she's in the
yeah,
documentary.
she's in a documentary. They interview her. She tells her side of it, which is just so crazy because pretty much I think 9 times out of 10, if you're a child and you get kidnapped and you're gone for 9 months, you're dead.
You're
You're
dead.
dead.
Yeah.
So for her to survive what she went through is so crazy. And this is kind of what we talked about, and I wanted to bring up on the podcast. Is like, and obviously it's just a small glimpse, but she seems so normal
So
for
well adjusted.
going through what I would consider top five most horrific things that could ever happen to a human being on planet
Right.
Earth.
Wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
No,
Like, yeah, and thinking about like every night, going to bed every night of those 9 months, God, and having been a 14-year-old girl at one time, when I tell you that is, it's a rough transition physically, emotionally,
yeah,
every
I-
other
yeah.
possible way, and to have to go through that, uh,
I mean, just imagine like trying to be like a boyfriend of hers and you're like getting to know each other and you're like sharing like childhood and you're like, yeah, my parents, they was real rough childhood. Just like, let me tell you a story. And then
we
you're just like,
got divorced.
my dad drank too much or, my mom wasn't around. Like, okay, that sounds horrible. Let me pull up this Netflix documentary really. Like
Yeah,
it's just
sit down.
I just couldn't imagine being able to relate to her on any level about anything. Like just her view of the world has to be so differently. Understandably, probably afraid of men, grown men in general, for a very long time. just strangers in general.
Yeah.
I would be so absolutely terrified. And she has a family now. She has her own kids.
She's got kids of her own. I mean, how do you even get past, yeah, how do you even leave your kids, not saying that, you got to move on with life, but I mean, gosh, the weight that she must hold
Yeah,
away from that.
I would assume her children probably have bedrooms on the second floor of the house.
Locks on the inside and out.
She's got bars on the windows. She lives in a
Yeah.
very rich
Gosh.
white neighborhood in Utah, but still bars on the
Extra
windows.
security. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I couldn't imagine being able to trust almost anybody for the rest of my life after that. And again,
I
she
couldn't
seems,
either.
and who knows, maybe I'm sure and you said too, she's not isn't she like against therapy or she just like doesn't like?
Yeah, she did a bunch of interviews years ago. Like I have followed this case from the beginning. I was on a family vacation when she first went missing. I remember seeing missing posters of her little
Oh,
face
crazy. Yeah.
in Little Rock, Arkansas, and being like, "Mom, what is this?"
Yeah.
And of course, that's when my fear of being kidnapped like
Of course.
really started. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, so it all makes sense. But okay, yes. So the idea, she mentioned that as soon as she was like recovered after being kidnapped, she had a bunch of therapists just kind of coming at her and being like, so what happened? What, did he, and they were having to use like anatomical, like medical, almost medical language to figure out exactly what had happened, how and when. And she just said, reliving it didn't help me. I'm home now. I know that I'm safe, and I have an understanding that this was a complete, not a freak thing, but almost like a 1 in a million
Yeah.
horrific accident. So it
Yeah.
was almost like she found peace in that.
Which
It's
is
just an insane like mindset. It just the strength and like otherworldliness that you have to be able to move past that, because I hold grudges.
her sister who witnessed it was in the room. She seemed more traumatized
Yes.
than Elizabeth
A poor
Smart.
girl. Yeah.
They're both
it's
they're both adults now. Obviously, they're both in the documentary. The sister seemed way more traumatized.
The
in
sister
interview.
seemed like a shell of a person almost.
Yeah.
It's actually, she looked like a freaking stray cat or something that'd been on the street for I mean, just, and not that she was she's a beautiful girl, but it's just she's hollow. It seemed almost, and how could he not be?
Totally. And it's so interesting for her to have that mindset of like, yeah, I don't think talking about this is going to help. Like, it was a horrible thing. I just don't want to think about it anymore. Like, I just want to move on. That to me does seem like a relatively reasonable idea to have in that situation. But for a therapist, obviously, I do therapy. I talk to my therapist sometimes about fucked up things that have happened to me. And she like wants to dig into it. And I'm like, no, but that was like 15, 20 years ago. Like it doesn't, it doesn't affect me the way like this probably maybe would have been worth talking about after it just happened. But
Right.
now it's like I'm a grown adult. It seems weird to even be upset about some of this stuff just on the grand scale of
Yeah.
my life and the world. And she hates that. She's like, no, we should still talk about it. And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm kind of on Smart's side there of like, yeah, maybe it is better to just move on if you do feel okay, if you do are comfortable and you do have this family and it seems like your life is okay, and she's turned it into like a career, which is even crazier. I mean,
Being like a public speaker kind of a thing. And like to me, she's always like, I hate to call it pop culture, but like she's been a huge figurehead of like a pop culture figurehead in my life. Like I mean, we kind of, not like we make jokes about it, but it's like, you're going to get Elizabeth Smart, you're going to get her name is almost synonymous with like an in-home kidnapping, a freak.
It's like John Benet Ramsey level of kidnapping. Like there are these people that for whatever reason shoot to the top of like the news world and become these like iconic stories. And obviously it's an insane story. So of course and it's just gonna, I'm sure it's happening right now with Netflix all over again.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure people are probably reaching out to her. I'm sure she's gonna probably be doing a lot more speaking type engagements because of this. And it's just, the whole thing is so wild. And again, watch the documentary. We don't need to really break it down for you, but I mean, she gets kidnapped and she's like living in the woods for 9. I mean, it's just nuts. So,
I mean, she can hear her family calling her name.
Oh, that's right
like
too.
a
Yeah,
wooded,
her
like a
search
search in
party.
the woods.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
So
should have found
she's
her like 9 times
right.
before.
I mean, she was like miles from her home. So it's just and then like you said, restaurant, but anyway, she does eventually get found and reunited with her family.
And again, like all of these scenarios, a dream for the person who's making this documentary. You know, you're making this story, and you find out that they have the footage of when the dad and her are reunited for the first time. It's like, are you
Literally.
kidding me? It's just like
Yeah, what more could you
perfect.
want?
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
photos of her in public as she like
yeah,
mid kidnapping, insane.
it's just absolutely crazy story. Netflix really just doing an incredible job with documentaries. Not so much with scripted television, I
Oh
feel.
my gosh, don't even get me started. But
But
speaking of,
yeah, but
yeah,
scripted television is still there is still some good out there, and my favorite right now is The Pit.
love the pit.
I was very excited to find out that you were also a viewer of The Pit. I don't have that many people in my life that love medical shows
Okay, me either.
that are currently watching any medical shows or The Pit specifically. I've been heavy on the discussion boards on Reddit just to like scratch that itch of wanting to talk
Oh,
about.
I love that.
I so I
What are they saying?
I mean, it's crazy. This show is obviously blown up. It's very popular. So the Reddit threads, there's different threads on Reddit for the show, but there is one specifically that they put for each episode. So it's specific to all you could talk about is this episode. So you just discuss season 2, episode 4, etc.
Mhm.
So that's really where I live. I don't really, some people really like to get into just conspiracy theories, and people want to talk about every single patient, and I mean, I just don't have the time or the desire to really get into that. But I did post, it's very rare, but I do post sometimes thoughts on The Pit to the specifically to the episode discussions, and I posted something after I watched episode 3 of season 2, and it got a quite a response. I mean,
Okay.
hundreds of responses to what I posted,
Really,
and
he went viral, Rob. Okay.
I wouldn't call it viral, but I definitely had to turn the notifications off on Reddit for sure. But a couple hundred people had something to say based on this thing that I posted, and so I want to ask you about this, and then we could talk a little bit about season 2 and how we're feeling and stuff
Mhm.
like that. But my experience with The Pit has been I wasn't aware of it for season 1. So season 1
Okay.
came and went. I was unaware. Then it pops up. I see a thing. I watch a trailer. I'm like, this looks great. And, I got nothing to do today. Why don't I just start watching The Pit? Let's see if I like it. I watched the first episode. I'm completely hooked.
Uh-huh.
And I binge 15 episodes in like 2 days. I knock out the whole first season in a weekend. And I think that's how you're supposed to watch this show. If you don't know what The Pit is, the really the whole like the idea of the show is that it's one day. It's one hospital shift, and it's a 15-hour hospital shift. It's the morning crew. So you're going through their entire 15-hour shift. 15 episodes, each episode's an hour, and each episode is 1 hour of their shift. And there's a crew in the hospital, interns, attendings, resident doctors, the whole thing. And so I'm watching season 2 now, and they don't release it all at once because it's HBO. So you're getting weekly episodes. Now, I do enjoy having something to look forward to every week. Typically, for any other show, I do enjoy, I don't really want to binge it. I want to enjoy it. I want to, sit with it for a week. I want to get on the Reddit threads and talk about it with complete strangers, and then maybe rewatch it and then rewatch and then watch the next episode, whatever. So I'm watching season 2 now of The Pit, and it's coming out weekly, and I'm not enjoying it nearly as much as I enjoyed season 1. And I
Really?
think it's because this show, whether it was intentional or not, I think is based on the structure of the show. I think it's better to binge it because then you just feel like you're watching an entire hospital shift it feels like you're get sucked in and you're there. It's like you're walking around the ER and they don't know you're there and you're just watching the whole thing.
I like the binge aspect of it too, because I did the same thing with season one. I binged it all in like, yeah, like probably 2 days, to be honest with you. I think I sat on my couch and just didn't move. Yeah, I
Same.
watched on my phone, my iPod, my iPad. I mean,
Yeah.
iPod, okay. But no, I loved it because I felt like as I was watching, I was like, are they doing so? Is this episode all in one take, or am I just like so engrossed in what's
Yeah.
going on? I felt like I was in the ER too. I'm with you. And then you kind of lose momentum, like having that
Yeah.
break week to week because it is such a cool concept. 1 hour, one episode, 1 hour. It's like that's what it does give you the feel like they're like it's all one take. Of course it's not. But it's yeah, you lose that momentum from week to week because as I was kind of reviewing the episodes like of course I am watching them week by week and I was thinking like shit I kind of there's like little bits that you forget that because it is so detailed too so
Yeah.
you really have to pay attention and you have to listen to these little conversations that happen in passing because they're huge plot lines so you kind of miss little bits I feel from week to week.
Yeah. I mean, so there was a pretty big consensus on this Reddit thread that I put out of people agreeing. Like a lot of people were saying that they're just not watching the show until it's done. They're just going to wait.
Oh.
And I
Ooh.
thought about doing I didn't think about that at first, but now we're 4 episodes in. I'm like, well, maybe I should just wait because I did really enjoy it so much more.
Mhm.
And I don't know. It's not the end of I could wait. I could just stop, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. Well, talk to me on Thursday. I may just people watch it because what I've been doing is the recaps really aren't enough. It's almost like like on Wednesdays I rewatch the last episode so that
Mhm.
I feel like I'm more caught up for the next day for Thursdays. It really I couldn't really put my finger on why I wasn't, and I do kind of feel like the story's not as great this season. That's
It's a lot more
another
disconnected, it seems. Like there's not like a, or maybe, I mean, I don't know.
it I think there's definitely just like the concept it just felt different the first season. I think it's hard to ever like recreate an incredible first season of a show
Right.
just because
Something so different.
yeah,
So,
it's
yeah.
new, the excitement of this new show, and it's so whatever. So I thought that was maybe a part of it, and I thought, yeah, maybe the story's not so great, and there's nothing really, not that I even loved like the chaos. I do just sort of enjoy the medical aspect of the show
Mhm.
and like the stories between. I love the characters. Do you have a favorite hit character?
Of course, I love Dr. King. I think she is so
Yeah.
sweet, adorable. And I had no idea that's Bryan Cranston's daughter.
Yeah, what's so funny? I saw like did you watch Breaking Bad?
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay, so do you remember after the plane crash, they're like in the gymnasium at the school and Walter's like talking on the microphone? She is in that scene. She's
Oh
one of
my
the
gosh.
she's one of the students that like asks him a question or asks somebody go back and
Oh, that's
or
so funny.
somebody did like a cut on like TikTok of it. It's very funny. She's a child. It's very funny.
Yeah, she looks like a baby in the pit too.
Yeah.
But what's his name? The guy that had to go away for the pills. He's kind of a douche, but I kind of liked, of course I like
Oh yeah.
love the addict. I'm like,
I always love the addict
same.
too.
I do too.
I'm gonna pull up the because I'm bad with like everybody's names too.
I know, Rob me too. I had him pulled up and
I was gonna say I'm gonna pull up everybody's names here.
oh Langdon, that's his
Yeah,
name.
Dr. Langdon. Yeah, so he got caught. Also, I guess again, I don't know. These are like spoilers. If you haven't watched The Pit yet, sorry, figure it out. But
Yeah.
yeah, Dr. Langdon. Yeah, got
Mhm.
busted for stealing pills at the hospital. Really, just amateur move. I mean, I get the accessibility, but I mean, come on, man, go buy your drugs from a drug dealer.
Literally, like everybody else. Yeah. Find a patient. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, Langdon's great. I definitely agree. Dr. King is by far my favorite character on the show. When she like goes outside at one point in season one and starts rapping that like bougie song or whatever, I immediately fell in love with her and was like, this is the greatest television character of all time.
Well, she got me when she was talking about the Renaissance Fair. I'm like,
So
okay, do I have my birthday party every single year at the Renaissance Fair since I was like 6? Yeah, I have. So that really spoke to me.
yeah, I'd say yeah, Dr. King by far my favorite, and then Whitaker is a close second for me. He's
Mhm. Mhm.
Huckleberry is the nickname, I
Yes. Oh,
believe.
he's
And
sweet.
she called him Fuckleberry in season or episode 3, and I lost
This
it.
last
This was
one.
so good. Yeah, he's like so innocent and sweet, and you could just tell they're just
He's
like
very endearing.
yeah, they're just building him up to just like get his heart broken at some point in every season, and it's like I'm just
I
waiting
know.
for
I'm
that
like, I
moment.
hope they don't make him like accidentally kill someone or something because it seems like he's doing really well, like medically. Like none of them have any notes for him.
Yeah,
Dr. Robbie, Robbie's kind of
doing good.
watching him, taking a liking.
Yeah,
And then Dr. Robbie, of course, he's sweet. I like him. Love the charge nurse.
yeah, she's great too. That
Dana.
yeah,
Great accent.
yeah,
Lake
she's got the
accent.
Philly accent,
Uh-huh.
and
Okay, is that a Philly? That, yeah, duh, they're
I
in Philadelphia.
yeah, they're in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm assuming yeah that's they gave her she's got like a
So
like
good.
a Philly Philly accent there. But yeah, I mean just a really incredible show. If you I had never come close to watching a medical show up until this point. Recently started watching ER because of the Pit now. So now I'm watching a television show that started in 1994 because of this.
George Clooney.
Yeah, Clooney he's right there in first episode, young Clooney. Um, I will say it's a little difficult. It's not the Pit. It's good, but it's not the Pit,
Mhm.
and it came out in 1994, so it's a little hard to really get through some points. But I'm still
Yeah.
trying because I'm loving like the medical stuff. But yeah, I mean the Pit is so great, and like I said, I really did enjoy the ability to binge season 1, and I feel like it's affecting a little bit of season 2, but at
Mhm.
the same time, I mean, it's just so fun to have something weekly to watch. And
Yeah, something to look forward to, like you said.
yeah,
I'm like, oh
I,
yeah, it's Thursday night. Thank God.
I know I don't have any other shows right now
I don't either.
that are weekly that I'm watching. Again, I'm just watching documentaries on Netflix, but yeah, The Pit's great. I really love it.
Mhm.
I They kind of spoil, I guess, what like the craziness of season 1 was the fact that there was like a shooting at a music festival. There was like a mass shooting.
Mhm.
That was like their like crazy plot, you know, end of the series kind of thing. And so it seems like this season, the crazy thing is going to be like the power goes out or something. That's where I'm like, they're like, oh,
Right, whatever code black is at that other there's a code black at another hospital that they're all having to bring patients to.
well, there was like there was like a trailer that I saw where he says like, oh, we have to go to analog mode. So I'm assuming like they just lose
Oh
like
no.
all of like these like medical machines lose power. So it's like, I would imagine in an ER. So that's going to be the crazy part, I guess, of the whole
Yeah,
show.
and the new doctor is like trying to make AI charting a whole thing, and there's like,
Yeah.
what
That's that's the other
Whitaker's
part of
like,
this.
oh, there's a mistake, and so that'll be an interesting like the kind of
Yeah.
like their little HBO's little messages that they're dropping in.
Well, yeah, so that's the other part of the show that like I enjoy, but sometimes it feels like a little forced. It's like they're
Hmm.
very much trying to be so in like current times where it's like,
Yes.
oh, mass shootings. Okay. There's a big focus about COVID in season 1. And
Hmm.
then now this season it's like AI is a big thing, and it's
Hmm.
like, okay, yeah, I get it that that you want to involve like these things that are current and that are like happening in the world, but I also would be fine if it was just still just like a good medical show with good characters and like good
Yeah, just
stories
some
for the
good old
characters.
medical drama.
I don't want every time I open up my phone or turn on the news, I'm reminded of AI. Like I got that enough. There's enough of that. But I get it, I'm sure it's probably it's a big part of like the medical field in the world right now. And they do talk about how this is like the most medically accurate show. Like
Yeah,
I
I
saw
read
an
that
interview
too.
where they said that before even like the actual like film director sits down, they have like a doctor that sits down before them and directs everybody so that everything is like 100% or as accurate as possible. So I do enjoy that aspect of it. But I mean, I don't know. I like a little bit of a break from the world, but if we got to hear about AI in the pit for a little while, I guess I'll just deal with it. But yeah, so we're 4 episodes in. We'll definitely keep talking about the pit, as the season goes on, because
Mhm.
at this point, let's be real, I'm not gonna. I'll just rewatch and binge season two after.
Well, that's what I've been doing. I just rewatched all 4 episodes
Yeah.
earlier today, just like to recap or,
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
And it is more fun to watch like back to back to back to back. And you catch so much more. Because there's a lot happening
Yeah.
in each episode. There's a lot of, like I said, little side conversations that when you watch it back, you're like, oh, I missed an entire
Did you
plot point.
catch that Santos is dating that surgeon?
No.
Okay, so I didn't catch this either. I can't say that I caught this on my own, but I think it's the first episode of season 2 where the surgeon makes a joke about Huckleberry using her toothbrush, and
Uh-huh.
he lives with Santos, but they're not
Yeah.
dating. So that means she was there with Santos, right?
Yeah.
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 And if you go back and
I
watch
did not
season
even catch that.
I didn't
I thought,
either. Again, credit to Reddit because they're all over it. But then you go back and you watch like other episodes, and there's a part where they're doing like a surgery, and Santos wants to do like the incision. And so the surgeon, she puts her hand, she's like, I'll guide her. So she puts her hand on Santos's hand and like helps her guide the knife.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna have to do a rewatch because
It's so quick where she makes a comment about him using her toothbrush, and then they just go, and then it's just that's it. No one says another goddamn word about it. But you're like, oh shit, yeah, they that.
yeah, who's
So I'm pretty sure they're dating, and I haven't caught anything since then. But there's a little fun
okay,
little
love
Easter
that.
egg for you to watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what's so
Well,
great. That's what's so good about this show is that the writing's insane. They're throwing stuff like that in there while they're like wheeling somebody into surgery. So it's like you don't
right.
get too much. There's just no time for them to have a
You
deep
kind of have to watch the
conversation.
subtitles. Yeah, you kind of have to
Subtitles
watch the
help.
subtitles so you can see what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
But speaking of dating,
Oh boy. Yeah. All right. So we could talk about it briefly.
please.
I texted you that I was going to meet up with somebody, and I don't know if she'll listen to this. She's aware of the podcast. It's kind of how all of this happened. So here's like the short version. I texted you on Sunday. Was it Sunday?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
Tuesday.
so
Yes.
yeah.
Sunday. And I was like, hey, kind of sort of going on a date, I guess. Date is loose, and I'll explain why. But I'm going on a date and we're meeting at a cemetery. And that's all I said to you. I was just like, hey, by the way, we're going to a cemetery. See you later.
I was somewhere. I don't remember where I was, but I looked down at my phone and I saw that I went, "Oh, okay, this is the kind of text message I want to receive on a Sunday afternoon."
See,
That's
and
exactly
I had
I
a
found
feeling,
my people.
yeah, I knew you'd enjoy that, so I was happy to share. I ended up having dinner with somebody much later that night, and I talked to them about it. But you're the only other person I talked to, and now I'm talking about it on a podcast, so that's great. But yeah, so I had met this person, this woman about a year ago, and we met briefly, and then nothing really came of it except us exchanging phone numbers and like briefly texting for a little while, right? And it was like very casual. Oh yeah, we should hang out sometime. Let's try and when are you free? She has kids. She's got a job. She's very busy.
Mhm.
It's hard to,
Yeah,
make plans with
locked down.
people with a whole other life like that. So, you know, there would be months where maybe we didn't talk to each other, and then something would come up. She listens to the podcast. She's like a deaf person. She's into that
Awesome.
stuff. So she'll like text me a thing about the podcast, and then we'll start talking again. Anyway, that sort of thing just kind of went. And then she met someone. She was dating somebody for a little while. So things sort of cooled off again, and we just kind of would text whenever and friendly. And then I don't know how it came up or what, or I think maybe I texted her something, maybe a little bit of a flirty text. And I was under the assumption she was still dating this person. And I maybe was like, sorry, I probably shouldn't text somebody that who is in a relationship.
Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot.
And she responded with, "Oh, that actually ended." And I just called her after
Oh,
I
good
just
for you.
I
Oh
just
my
called her and
gosh.
I was like, "All right, hey, what are you doing on Sunday? We should have like we texted a little bit, and then I was just like, all right, I'm done texting for
Yep,
we
that's a man.
so I just called her and was like, "What are you doing on Sunday?" It was like Thursday, and she's like, "Nothing." I'm like, "Great, let's hang out." And we would make these jokes all the time, or like we would talk about crash. I don't know how it got started, but we were talking about like crashing a funeral together. We were like, that would be a fun first date, right? Where we just like we just get dressed up and crash a funeral. So I was like, how about instead of crashing a funeral, we just meet at a cemetery, and then we just do that.
Perfect medium.
And so
Perfect medium.
yeah, so I found a cemetery, and yeah, we just met in the afternoon, and we ended up walking around and talking for an hour and a half at this
Oh my
giant cemetery.
gosh.
Yeah, and just kind of explored, and like it's a really old cemetery. There was people that were born in like 1890 buried there. I think
Jeez.
the oldest person buried there we found was I think like 1930 something. Like it's an
Wow.
old cemetery. Yeah. And yeah, I mean just all these like different areas, and like some indoor stuff, some outdoor stuff. There's like
Uh-huh.
this like crazy garden with like these big, just like beautiful trees, and these like
Wow.
waterfalls and thing. It's just like a really cool, beautiful cemetery. And
Well,
yeah,
I,
yeah.
yeah, that's a good. That's like okay. As you're saying it, I'm like that's actually not a bad date idea because you're walking around.
Yeah.
There's tons to talk about, right? You can talk about their names. How do you think they died? What do you think they were like? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
judge their headstones. Their
Yeah.
family didn't give a shit about them. They've got a
Yeah.
terrible headstone. This person's family clearly loved them and still cares for. I think that's a great.
Well, the best, yeah, it was basically us, yeah, looking, figuring, obviously they're figuring out how old some of these people were, you know, that was like a big thing, or like people obviously that were born in like 1902 or whatever it was. Yeah, the best was like you would see a lot of people would have like photos of the people, and like there was a section where people are put into a wall, right? Or it's like,
Right.
and there was a big section of where it was a lot of husband and wives being put in the wall together. So there was just
Oh,
like a lot of just like seeing these very sweet old couples, like they
yeah.
have a photo. Some of them would have like, a photo of them, their wedding photo. And, a lot of
Oh,
it was like wedding photos from like the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. And it was just like, there was this one woman, Barbara, who had like this like really cool headstone, and she had a cowboy hat on, and she just like looked like the coolest. So then we were just talking about Barbara for 10 minutes,
it's
and
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, it was very fun. And the first I haven't been to a cemetery in forever. I may do a podcast about death, but I'm not hanging out in cemeteries. So I haven't been to one in a very long time. And yeah, the weather's really nice right now. So, and it was mostly outdoors. Um, but yeah, it was really interesting, and a fun little hang. So I don't know. Well, the end of the day, we decided we're gonna go do this again. So currently the plan is to find there's like this really cool, like kind of cowboyish like part of town where I live in, that's like maybe like 45 minutes to like an hour from us. So the plan is to find like a cool old cemetery up there, and then like go get
Nice.
dinner afterwards. So that's the plan.
Awesome.
We'll see if it happens. But yeah, there's your fun little
I love it.
cemetery
Yeah.
date update.
I've been waiting for that update well, since Sunday, all week.
For two
I
whole
don't have a lot going on. Yeah, I don't have a lot going on in my own life. So thinking
no,
about Rob days brought me lots of excitement.
I was excited to tell you about it. And like we did talk off of the podcast how we were going to try and talk more about ourselves and be a little more personal. And I guess I shouldn't have agreed to that so quickly because I didn't realize I'd be going on a date
Well,
so soon
I
afterwards.
I will ask the personal questions, so don't you worry about that. I will ask you all the questions your therapist also wants to ask.
Perfect.
But that is kind of funny because me and my niece, my in-laws live close to a very tiny, tiny cemetery where again, lots of older, like old deaths in the late 1800s, very early 1900s. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking about that now that you're telling your story. I'm like, that might be a little weird too. We just ride the golf cart around and like put fake flowers on people's, my niece like 9. So she's like, if they don't have flowers, let's put flowers on their thing. I'm like,
That's kind of
okay.
nice.
I know, but now that I'm like, that might be a little weird. But
Well,
you know what?
I would say the only part that felt a little uncomfortable about it was obviously there was other people there.
Right.
There was like the saddest thing we saw was, there's like a big part of it is just obviously big open grass area and there's like really no trees or anything. And like out in the distance, we just saw a guy pull up by himself with a chair and just,
Oh my God.
opened up a chair, put it clearly next to, I would assume his wife's grave and was just sitting there talking to her. And he was there for the whole time we were there. So that poor guy, maybe who knows?
Talk about that later.
Yeah. So, you walk past that and you're just like, man, that poor guy. You just like want to go give him a hug. And then, then he's going to be like, oh, so, who's here, who's buried here that, and you're like, nobody actually.
Actually
Absolutely.
trying to find love. That you enjoy your time
Yeah,
talking to
yes.
your wife.
Sorry about your dead wife, sir.
Yeah.
And yeah, that, so there was, but everyone's kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
There was like a big family hang in the back, which I thought was kind of cool. Like there was
That's
probably like
sweet.
10 people, just like all like kids and everybody just like all hanging out under a tree, clearly obviously visiting somebody. So I mean, everyone just does their own thing and no one's
Yeah.
like, but yeah, I definitely was not prepared if like somebody, came up and was like, so who are you here to see? Be like, oh, now I gotta lie and be like,
This week.
oh, my grandma. I can't remember where she's at though. So we've just been wandering around. I don't know. She's somewhere around here. I'll see you later. And then you just gotta like slowly leave. But no uncomfortableness. It was actually really nice. But
Well, good.
and just so cool. Like so many people that like just like leave like these really like interesting trinkets and stuff. And I don't know. It's just it definitely gives you a nice little reminder that
Yeah.
people are hopefully going to come visit you one day when you're just buried in the ground. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think we're going to drive up whenever we find this place, we're going to have to drive. I think we'll drive up together like when we go up north. And I think I'm going to try and put together like a cemetery playlist of just like death related songs. If you got any recommendations, let me know. But just anything that's like death cemetery adjacent that's make a fun
Secret listen to this episode. Y'all listen to this episode together on your way up there.
Hey, do you want to listen to my podcast on the way up?
Oh, God. No, maybe don't do that.
Yeah, hard pass on that. But I I hope she never hears this, but we'll find out. I mean,
Well, I hope it all works out.
yeah, we'll see. Either way, it was a fun thing to do. And gave us
great
something to talk
story.
about on the podcast.
Exactly. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I'm mostly doing all of this just for podcast content, but dates are fun too. It's nice to go out and talk to new people, have new experiences. But yeah. All right. Well, I think we did it. Thank you everybody for listening to The Final Word. Like I said, we're going to try and do more of these and hopefully there'll be some other exciting documentaries to talk about, and of course the Pit, and just whatever comes our way. But thank you for listening. Tell a friend, share the pod, do all the things, subscribe if for whatever reason you're not subscribed. Please go do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jordan, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. Yeah, follow us, blah, blah, blah. Thanks
All
for
the
listening.
things. All right, thanks everybody.